Trunkusu! 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 Hey guys, MasakoX here. What started off as a casual April Fool what if has now evolved itself into one of the most hopeful and positive sagas of the history of the what ifs on this channel, let alone one of the more sweeping ones out there. For example, in this story, an entire arc was wiped off the face of the earth with just one action. The little potato head man didn't know what had hit him before his intentions were taken away from him, as well as his life. Thanks to the date that this what if debuted on, we've been able to be a little more free-flowing with our directions, and as a result, we've come up with something which seems a little more madcap than some of our other stories, but at the same time, it's actually become quite endearing, and something that I take pride in. So that's why it's taken a little longer to write this next part of the story than some of my other entries for these types of things. So, it's time to return to the question of what if Broly turned good? Now let's clarify this point for a moment here. With each passing month, the legacy of the original Broly is being superseded with his newer iteration, and that is something to be happy about. The new Broly is far better in terms of an overall character than the old one, but the old one still has that nostalgic glow about it, which makes it timeless, and something that will always be a part of the lore of Dragon Ball, no matter how many iterations of Broly that we see on our screens. You know, you can just stick him in front, we'll always remember the original one. Video games, merch, doesn't matter. So the Broly that we're referring to here in this story is the one that stems from the movies, instead of the one from Super, and the exploits on Planet Vampa, of course. I just wanted to point that out there. Now, this Broly had been led by Vegeta in becoming a better person, and they had done so quite well, up to a point. In the last part, it had become clear that all this new power, the God Ki training, might have been too much for the young man to bear, despite his potential and unlimited Ki well. The childhood of Broly had done seemingly more damage to his mind than had been previously thought. Now, after gaining a handle on his temper, temporarily, the gang had set about Broly's recovery, after them being able to realise the boy's dream of reviving South Galaxy, after his former self's days of vaporizing it at the beginning of movie 8. With that complete, Broly was able to feel much better about his lot in life. It was really going well for him. Until future Trunks came back in time and the two clapped eyes on each other. Now, before with Goku Black, Trunks had been able to calm down and things carried on as if nothing had happened. It was all good. But with Broly here though, this meeting of minds, the two of them, that was not going to end well. Vegeta was trying to calm his pupil down as best as he could, with everything he knew. But it wasn't working. And here is where we continue. Broly's rage and anger was stemming from the connection that his brain was making with this person that had just come from the future, Trunks. That name was something his old life remembered well. I mean, it can't be though. Trunks is the young boy that he considered one of his best friends, the little one with the purple hair, like with Goten. But this Trunks was older and more like one of the lingering neural firings from his time on the planet that was being rained on by Comet Komori. This man was bad news, and so therefore Broly's already fragile mind was preparing itself to power up, and he does so, going Super Saiyan Blue. I mean, wow. Trunks has only just arrived here, and now he's being shown the powers that the present have managed to present to him, and it's something even greater than Goku Black's power that Trunks has just run away from. Vegeta then shouts to Bulma to get Whis' butt right here pronto, as soon as possible, as he has to go Super Saiyan Blue himself just to counter Broly's power. And even though Vegeta should be strong enough to be able to deal with this kind of Broly, he simply can't. Broly's fury is outdoing Vegeta's power, and even with Goku leaping in to help, the two of them just can't stop Broly's onslaught. "That's enough, Broly! Cease this madness!" says Vegeta. Trunks then also realizes this person's identity. Broly? Are you serious? That Broly? What's he doing here? The last time I saw him, he nearly destroyed us! Goku shouts back, "No time to explain! Get your butt up here and help!" Trunks complies with Goku's request, and then powers up to Super Saiyan 2. This seems to only make Broly even angrier, as the memories are now flooding in even more of multiple people fighting him at the same time. a sudden spark of green energy envelopes the group, and the trio of Super Saiyans fall back as Broly begins to bulk up and fire off green energy blasts in all directions. Broly's old mania is returning, and his blue hair begins to lengthen and his muscles expand exponentially.
Trunks, you hurt Broly many years ago. Now I'll make you hurt!
Vegeta is thinking the only saving grace here is that he doesn't remember the significance of Kakarot. If he did, then this may be the end of them all, the entire universe. Broly is gazing hysterically at Trunks, and Trunks is powerless to stop him. An Omega Blaster is being prepared to strike the Hero of Time directly, but then suddenly, it disappears. Broly's eyes shut, and he falls to the ground in a heap. Whis appears from behind Broly, who was hovering right there at the time, and the angel has a far too pleased smile upon his face. "You rang? Oh my, what happened here?" Everyone is exasperated and turn to Whis as if to say, "What took you so long?" Whis retorts, "What? I got here as fast as I could. I had to stop for a food run for Lord Beerus on the way though, so apologies if I took a couple of seconds longer than I should." After Broly has been subdued by Whis thanks to a handy-dandy trick he learned to calm Beerus down, so we know it works, and quite frankly with Whis you can just stick in any old power and it'll work, the gang inform him about what has happened and the events that transpired at the time of Movie 8. Whis takes this all in, and then recalls something happening with Komori a long time ago, which caught his attention back in the day. "Oh, I see. So that's what caused that comet to change course. I was wondering that. That thing was huge. The question is, though, what do we do with Broly?" For now, they don't know. There's no telling what he might do now, with his mind seemingly to be unraveling with every passing minute. For a moment there, it was like he'd regressed all the way back to where he was back then. That their time together, being friends, allies, never happened, and that the nice and friendly ally that they once had was lost forever. One thing's for sure, Trunks can't be around him at the same time, not right now, but Trunks isn't convinced. "I knew he was bad news. Look how quickly he snapped the moment he laid eyes on me. He was faking the whole thing."
Trunks, that's enough!
Vegeta snaps back. Vegeta is not going to tolerate his son's lack of faith in Broly. This is hitting Vegeta the hardest of all. He had spent the most time with Broly, and to see him fully revert back to his old ways, that was pretty heartbreaking for the prince. It was like he'd lost a family member right now.
Broly is not like the monster we fought back then. This Broly is someone I can trust. He is someone that I care about. And right now, I want to help him. I must help him.
Vegeta looks serious. Trunks recoils a bit before looking away. For the next couple of hours, Broly is kept a close eye on. Beerus has now arrived after noticing Whis had vanished, and is lamenting the Dragon team's decision in taking on this Maverick in the first place. He always knew that that one was trouble. He shouldn't have been given the God Key. Vegeta is getting sick and tired of all this doubt, but that's when Goku Black comes into play. And with Broly out of the picture for the moment, the scene between Black, Goku, and the rest of the Dragon team pretty much plays out as per normal. Now, you may be asking, is Broly in the future or not, Masako? Well, I don't want to say right now. Future Trunks came from a time when Broly didn't exist as we knew him, as that occurred right before the Buu Saga, movie 10, when he came to Earth. You know, the Broly in that timeline remained entombed in ice, and after all this time, it became very unlikely that he would ever be revived. And remember, I know that some of you may be saying, well, Broly wouldn't have existed in the first place. They wouldn't have fought him or something like that. He wouldn't have known about Kakarot. Well, he would have known about Kakarot for a start, and also, this is an April Fool what if, so we can be a little bit crazy. So let's just wait a little bit, and I'll show you what I'm cooking up later. For now though, Goku Black is pulled back into the future, and the gang process what just happened, with Bulma unearthing the other time machine she had from the time of the Cell Saga, just to lift in Trunks' waning spirit that his own time machine had been destroyed. Soon, Trunks meets up with Gohan, and the two of them talk for a while, over some ice cream, naturally. The conversation then turns to Broly, and Gohan simply falls silent. "Well, Gohan, what do you make of all of this? Can this Broly be trusted? Father seems to think the world of him. He can be trusted. However, his mind has been affected by Paragus during his childhood. It has left him more damaged than we may have suspected. Also, the amount of power he's unlocked in such a short space of time, yeah, That may have sped up the deterioration and undone all the work we had done to try and help him. Gohan then looks down, retrospectively. I think to myself what might have happened had I just destroyed him right the moment I first saw him here. But then I remember that Majin Buu would have been around, so for that reason, I trust Broly. He's done more good for us than bad. Soon the time comes for the gang to head back to the future in the repaired time machine. For the first trip, it happens like it does in the original, with Goku, Vegeta and Trunks heading to the future, encountering Rose Black, and then having to retreat back to the present again, after, getting their butts kicked and realizing that despite their power, the power that the future exhibited at the time is just simply too great. Whis is present as Kid Trunks spots the others return, almost unconscious. When the three of them awaken, recovered, Whis debriefs that he has managed to put some kind of mental block on Broly for the time being, that managed to remove or at least obscure Trunks' true identity for the time being. It's not a permanent fix, but if it can just hold for the time that this future Trunks is around, it should buy them some time to try and find a better solution for fixing Broly's brain. Broly walks out looking very hazy, as if he'd been asleep for weeks, and greets Trunks cordially. Oh, hello. I didn't introduce myself. My name's Broly. Forgive me for my absence earlier. Trunks shakes his hand, but thinks, oh, trust me, you introduced yourself plenty. Goku and Vegeta then inform Broly about what happened, and are very apprehensive, thinking that Whis' block is going to give out at any moment. This has not gone unnoticed. Broly can sense something is wrong. What's the matter, Master Vegeta? You seem a bit off. Vegeta is looking very pensive, but masks this with his usual bravado.
That's no concern of yours, Broly. I'm fine.
Broly now seemingly on side, for the moment, they can plan another venture into the future. Broly wonders if this future has a version of himself in it, but Goku says, well, doesn't look it, buddy. But Broly has a plan to verify this. With President Zamasu being wiped out like before, the gang are now ready to go into the future for the second time. This time with Broly. With him there as well, Bulma is really scrunched up and has to sit on Vegeta's lap so as to not be crushed by all the big Saiyan bodies in there. And after getting out, the gang assess the situation and realize that the future, despite their efforts of getting rid of President Zamasu, it's not changed at all. This version of West City is just as devastated as it was before. West City? Then that must mean... Broly sets his gaze on a location in the distance and promptly flies away.
Broly, get back here!
Too late. He's gone. Trunks is angry.
I knew it! I knew Whis' plan would fail! Broly's turned his back on us! He's going to go and team up with Goku Black, I know it! No, boy,
says Vegeta. He's not so worried.
He's got the bit between his teeth. What has he figured out that we haven't?
Now, after a while flying, Broly lands in a dense undergrowth of forest, which has seemingly been left untouched. Zamasu and Goku Black probably felt no need to tarnish this place, as animals weren't part of their plan. Broly looks around and nods. It's just like how I remember. Broly walks through the woodland for a while and discovers a massive patch of dirt which wasn't there in the present. Broly thinks for a moment, just going through his head, going back through all the memories that he can remember, and promptly starts to blast the ground dozens of times, which vaporizes the ground until he suddenly comes across a patch of ice, which has now started to melt due to the fact there's loads of ki, and ki produces heat. Broly is looking curious. His suspicions may be right, and after breaking some more of the ice, he discovers something amazing. There, staring back at him, is himself. With more care, Broly melts the ice around this other Broly, and warms the air using his ki. For a few minutes, Broly just stands there, waiting for some movement to occur. And that's where we're going to be leaving things for right now. So what do you guys think? Is what's about to happen what you envisaged? Will any good come of this? Leave a comment below, and let's get this discussion going. And I shall see you in the next video. Catch you later!